following 4 Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up? It's me, Double K Double, and I'm here with the latest edition of Double K's Classroom. What I'm going to be bringing you today is a little bit of talk about Major League Baseball. We're going to start with the top half of the show, talking a little bit about the American League. We're going to focus in on one team per pretty much division, the division leaders of each team, of each division, the leaders of each division, and talk a little bit about each one of them. So we're going to start out with this one with the American League East, which is currently being led by the Boston Red Sox, who are 29-19, and actually have the best record by about a game in all of basketball, in all of baseball, or not in all of baseball, but in all of the American League, tied with Tampa Bay. These two teams both have put up great seasons away from home, both winning with the Rays being 18-7, the Red Sox being 16-7. But at home, both teams have struggled, with Red Sox being one game over 500 and the Rays being a game below. The Rays are currently on a 10-game winning streak, making them basically the hottest team in baseball right now. They've got a plus 44 run differential, but the Red Sox are the team that I think you want to focus on with this particular division. They're being led statistically by Xavier Bogaerts, who's hitting 345, Rafael Devers, who's got 13 home runs, the third baseman, and 39 RBIs. This kid's savage. He's been good for years. Pitching wise or hitting wise, they're ranked first in overall runs, second in batting average as a team. They're seventh in on base percentage and first in slugging percentage. Pitching wise, they're about middle of the pack, 13th in ERA, tied for 19th in quality starts, and 18th in WHIP, and 20th in opponent's batting average. That may explain a lot of why it's such a tight race. Like you got Boston and Tampa Bay at 29-19, but you got the Yankees at 28-19, just a game behind them, winners of 6 straight, half game behind them, sorry. And then you got Tampa Bay, who's only 4.5 games out at 23-22. So with another 110, 115, 20 games left to go in the season, this division could wrap up to be one of the most interesting ones out there, with at least 4 different teams. So we may end up seeing both of the wild card teams come out in the American League, come out of the East. But like I said, it's a long season to go. In 120 games, we may see 2 of these teams rise to the top. As Macho Man would say, the cream of the crop always rises to the top. Or we may see all 4 teams stay hot and make it a race down to where one team doesn't get in, two teams may grab those wild cards, and then there can only be one division winner. I believe that'll be the Red Sox. So moving on to the Central, you have the Central is being led by the Chicago White Sox, being brought up by the Cleveland Indians, who are a game and a half behind. Kansas City, who's winners of 2 straight. They actually hold the longest winning streak in the division at 2 straight, are a game under 500. And then you have the Tigers and the Twins, who don't look like they're going to be competing for much as the season goes along. But like I said, with 110, 115 more games left in this season, you never know. But both of those teams sit at about 10 games under 500, but they're only 9.5 games out of the division. So let's take a look at the White Sox. The White Sox are a team that is led by Yermin Mercedes, their catcher with a 347 batting average. The first baseman, Jose Abreu, is leading the team with 9 home runs and 35 RBIs. Hitting wise, they are ranked 7th in the league with 227 runs. They're 4th in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage with a 341 on-base percentage, and 11th in slugging position. As far as the pitching goes, they're 6th overall with a 3.33 ERA. 14 quality starts has them tied for 17th. 1.2 whip has them sitting at 10th, and then a 2.25 batting average has them just outside of the top 10. I think Lucas Giolito and the addition of Tony La Russa as the manager is what's turned this around for the White Sox. They weren't exactly a bad team last year, but this year they're definitely a better team, and it shows as far as I'm concerned. Cleveland dominated this division last year, but I think the loss of Bauer to the Yankees really hurt them and gives the White Sox a chance to step in. I'll tell you this: when a team looks at a talent like Albert Pujols and says no, thank you, you know that team's sitting pretty. They have a plus 64 differential despite being on a 3-game losing streak and 4-6 in their last 10. And they still sit on top of the division by a game and a half, but that's because the rest of the division is just playing not so good. So we'll take a look at our final division before we wrap this up in the American League, and that is the American League West. The West, led by the Oakland Athletics, who were at one point the hottest team in baseball, but have since cooled off since winning, I think it was like 13 straight, 14 straight, something like that. They're followed up by the Houston Astros, who are a game and a half out, despite taking 2 of 3 from Oakland. And then those are followed up by the Rangers, who are 5 games under 500, the Mariners, who are 5 games under 500, and the Angels, who are 7 games under 500, but still only 7.5 games out. So once again, this is another division kind of like the American League East that could all of a sudden, like the Angels could get hot, the Mariners could get hot, and all of a sudden be that third or fourth team that's competing with those teams from the American League East for a playoff spot. So keep an eye on the American League West, but specifically, let's keep an eye on these Oakland Athletics, led by the likes of Matt Chapman, led by the likes of Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Sean Manaea. Matt Olson is leading in batting average, 268 batting average. Olson's also leading in home runs with 12, 28, leading in RBIs with 28 as well. They went out and got Elvis Andrus, who's been good at the top of the lineup. Like, they brought back Jed Lowry. Cole Irvin has turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Let's see. But the Athletics are 16th in total runs, 205, 25th in batting average. Offensively, just not doing well this season. 16th in on-base percentage and 8th in slugging percentage. They do hit a lot of home runs. ERA is 4.28. This pitching staff needs to get better. They need to have a stretch like they did during that 12, 13 game winning streak, where I think their ERA was like just above 3. But they brought it down to 4.28, 23 quality starts, tied for second in the majors, 1.31 whip, tied for 6, or puts them in 16th, and they're 25th with a 2.55 opponent's batting average. Man, I tell you, could this team be better? Yeah, this team could be a lot better, and that's scary for the rest of baseball, because right now the Oakland A's are easily one of the best teams in baseball. I believe they would be sitting at 5th best record in the American League at this point, and climbing. I was just watching ESPN News earlier today, and it was showing the fact that that the A's are 20-1 odds in Vegas to win the World Series. I like those odds. Better than the Giants at 40-1. Damn near good as the Astros at 18-1. I think if this team gets into a playoff series, they can do some serious damage. Don't doubt it. Now, to ask the question, if all 3 of these teams, which team do you think will be on will be likely to represent the American League out of the 4 division leaders? Because Tampa Bay is technically a division leader because they're tied with the exact same record and percentage as Boston. So out of the 4 division leaders, Boston, Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Oakland, who do you think is most likely to still be in first place come All-Star break? I'm going to present that question to you guys on Twitter. reach me at double KK double to find that and give your answer on which one of these four teams you think will end up locking in their place in the playoffs as the division winner come the end of the season. And then next week or next Double K's classroom, I'll give you my answers and where I'm coming from. So, all right. Let's see. Other than that, not really much to say. So we're going to go ahead and cut that and take that commercial break a little bit early. And then when we come back from the commercial break, I'm going to talk a little National League, starting with National League East, which are surprisingly being led by a team that I don't know if you saw it coming, but I know I didn't. You're listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 486 Presents Radio Network, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever else you find your favorite podcasts. And for those of you looking at me, you're watching me here on YouTube, Double KK Double Network. Keep up. Peace. You are listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 486 Presents Radio Network, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Game ticket, $50. Hot dog, $8. Team store item, $25.
I told him I can beat him with one hand tied behind my back, with some glasses on, with one eye lens out, with some flip-flops on in the rain.
Haven't you listened to someone's dumb sports opinions? Worthless. Some people shouldn't talk sports. For everyone else, there's the Unspoken Podcast, available on most podcasting platforms, and on the web at theunsporkensportspodcast.weebly.com.
And I'm back. Okay. So before we talked a little bit about the American League, I even gave you a question to close out that half. I'll give you another one to close out this half. It'll pretty much be the same question, only with National League people. You can find that the polls on Twitter at Double KK Double or on Facebook on the Double KK Double Network. So now let's take a look at the National League, which National League East is where I'm starting. This was a division that was dominated by the Braves and the Phillies over the past few years. But this year, there's a new head of the beast, at least so far through 40 games. And that is the New York Mets, who sit at 21-19. Negative 13 run differential, which seemed to be pretty common among the A's, is like negative 11. But what that tells me is that when the team wins, they win big, and when they lose, when they win close, and when they lose big. But they just happen to win more than they lose. They're currently on a 2-game losing streak, 4-6 in the division. They're followed up by a game and a half behind are Philly and Atlanta, who are a game under 500. The Marlins are 2 games back, and they're 2 games out of 500, and this has got to be the tightest division in all of baseball, with the Washington Nationals sitting at only 2.5 games behind the Mets in first place, and they're sitting in last at 20-23. So I think this division is purely a toss-up. The Mets are a team that are good enough to and could maintain their lead all the way through till the end of the season, but any one of these other teams can get hot, especially the Atlanta team. Do not sleep on them. That's a team that I think can surprise you. Now let's look at where the Mets are ranked as far as statistically. They're led by Dominic Smith with a 241 batting average, Pete Alonso with 6 home runs and 19 RBIs. They sit at 30th in runs at 138, so they're damn near dead last in runs. They're 27th in batting average with a 226 batting average, just above the Mendoza line, a 309 on base percentage, which is good enough for 17th, about middle of the pack, and damn near dead last slugging percentage at 341. Pitching wise, this could be why they're sitting where they're sitting. Earned run average 3.30, good for 4th in the major leagues. Quality start 17th or 17, good, tied for 12th. And whip 1.14, good enough for 4th, and opponent's batting average 0.223 or 223. That is good enough for 7th in team rankings. So that could be a lot of why the Mets are where they are, is the excellent pitching. They have guys like Jacob deGrom on that staff that do good things. I wanted the A's to pick him up for a long time as a solid A plus starter to anchor their rotation, but they've never put any investment into him. So we'll hope and see that maybe they do a little bit later on. Let's see. The NL Central is a special division. Again, no more than 10 games separate first place from last place. This division is being led by the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs are only 2 games behind, sitting right there with them. The Milwaukee Brewers are knocking at heaven's door, 23-23, only 3 games out. The Reds 20-25, still only 5 games out, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates at 18-28. Once again, only sitting 8 games out. Once again, another toss-up division, kind of like in the NL East. Like, you have all these great players and all these great teams, and none of them can seem to put together a consistent win streak. I'll say it like they do in a lot of the sports shows I watch. Whichever team puts together a solid stretch at any point during the season of 10 to 20 games where they win like 15 out of 20, I think will win this division, probably running away. Because every other team in this division is just really up and down. Like, you can't pinpoint what's going to happen with any of them. And so, to me, the Cardinals right now are the best team, but talk to me 5 months from now, and it could be the Chicago Cubs. Talk to me 10 months from now, and it could be the Cincinnati Reds. Only team I won't say it could be is the Pittsburgh Pirates, because I just don't think they have it this year. There's no Barry Bonds in sight. There's no killer bees. But the Cardinals are led by Dylan Carlson, who's batting .291 this season. They're led in home runs by Nolan Arendo. That's where he went after leaving Colorado. And they're led in RBIs by the same guy. Pitching-wise, they're led by Jack Flaherty, who has a 2.53 ERA and 8 wins. And he also leads the team in strikeouts with 55. As a team, they have an earned run average of 3.81, good for 11th in the majors. 16 quality starts, good for 15th. A 1.31 ER or 1.31 whip, which is good for 15th, and a 2.19 batting or 0.219 batting average against, good enough for 6th. Hitting wise, only 199 runs, good for 18th. Batting average 234, good for 19th. 20th in on-base percentage at 307. Slugging percentage 395, good enough for 16th in the league. Once again, a solid team all around. I could see them definitely being that team that has that stretch where they win 5-10 straight games and run away with this division. Are they going to be dangerous in the playoffs? We'll have to see. But that Flaherty good dude looks like he's pretty damn good. So if he keeps it up, he may be a Cy Young candidate that launches them into a division win and a nice fun series in the playoffs. Now, this is the team that's now the next division I'm going to cover is the division that's kind of like the NL East or AL East of the NL, and that's the NL West. You've got the San Diego Padres, who have the most wins in baseball, sitting at 30-17. Yes, you did. I didn't stutter. You didn't hear me wrong. 30. They won 9 straight there. 30-17. They have a plus 75 differential. This Padres team is badass. Followed up by the Dodgers, who just picked up Albert Pujols when he was released by the Angels, who are back a game at 29-18 with a plus 72. And then that's followed by, this is the surprise team in the division, and that is the San Francisco Giants, who are sitting at 28-19, only 2 games out of the division. Only problem I have with the Giants is this is an odd number year. Y'all normally win on even number years. I'm just playing with you. The Rockies sit 10 games under 500 at 18-29. Arizona Diamondbacks are right behind them at 18-30. Both of these teams are more than 10 games out. If they were competitive, then maybe this would be an even better division, but they're not. So let's take those top 3 and let's take a look at the number 1 team in the division, the San Diego Padres. They are led by Jake Cronenworth with a 3.05 ERA, 3.05 batting average. Fernando Tatis Jr. has 13 home runs and is leading the team with a 3.09 batting average. And Manny Machado has 28 RBIs with 6 home runs. That might explain why this team is so darn good, or at least part of the reason. Pitching-wise, they're led by Yu Darvish. I forgot they picked him up. 1.75 ERA in 5-6 starts. He has 5 wins, 74 strikeouts, leading the team and everything. Batting-wise, they're 9th with 220 runs. They're 9th in batting average with a 244 batting average. 4th in on-base percentage with a 332 on-base percentage. 17th in slugging percentage with 388 slugging percentage. Pitching-wise, this is where, buddy, number 1 in earned run average with a team, 2.59 earned run average, 13 quality starts is the only place where they fall down to 19th. Whip, a 1.09 whip is good enough for 3rd, and a 2.206 batting opponent's batting average is good enough for 2nd. Ooh. This is a team that's starting strong. As long as they don't get hurt or injured, they're going to finish strong. And to me, I think the Padres should be the favorites to win the World Series. I know ain't nobody going to believe me there, but they should be the favorites. It should be them and the Dodgers battling it out. The Dodgers are going to, if they don't overtake them, the Dodgers are going to end up in a wild card. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We might see Padres-Dodgers in that first round divisional matchup. But I will go to my question again of top 5 or top 4 teams. Okay, you got the Mets, the Cardinals, the Padres, and the Dodgers. Which of these teams are Mets, Cardinals, and Padres? Which one of these teams is still going to be sitting on top of their division come the end of the season? So be sure to answer that question. Like I said, check it out. Double K Double on the Twitterverse, and on Facebook, the Double K Double Network. And you'll find a poll on both of those places for you to give your answer as to which team you think is going to be sitting up there. All right. So as a last subject, real quick before we sign this off, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not mad. I loved what the Warriors did this season. I loved everything about what the Warriors did this season. 39-33 ain't that bad. It sucks that they are 39-35. It sucks that they didn't get into the actual playoff tournament, but next year they should be better. You know, Wiseman's going to have another basically year to grow. He's got a bunch of time, haven't been injured so far, to put on some weight. Get his body big and ready for next season to be a center and be a dominant force, a rebounder. He should look something like Andre Drummond, an aggressive rebounder, but can score when necessary. Draymond's coming back. Pascal's coming back. I hopefully believe they're bringing at least Damian Lee, if not Samardzic, back, depending on if they're planning on keeping that Minnesota draft pick that should fall somewhere between 4th and 6th, hopefully. And either they're going to flip that for another star, or they're going to take that and bring in somebody else who can contribute immediately off the bench. So we shall see how it goes. Love my Warriors. Congratulations on the season that you had. I hope your next season ends up being better. And as for all of y'all out there in radio and YouTube land, peace, love, and chicken grease. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks for Double K's Classroom. I'll see y'all later on tomorrow for Cheap Pop Podcast. And let's see. Yeah, West Coast Spice coming up on Sunday. Peace.